As Yani and I advanced with our solid plan and alignment to our vision, we faced an unexpected challenge: the turbulence of our first business success. We were making strides, but this progress led us into the whirlwind of business, mistaking busyness for productivity. We became reactive to our circumstances, leaving little room for anything else but work. Welcome to our podcast, proudly brought to you by VPA Australia, our trusted supplement provider since Unity Gym started. As sponsored athletes, we're excited to offer you a special 10% discount on top quality supplements that ship worldwide. Just use our discount code from the description. To avoid international shipping fees, contact VPA and tell them we sent you to get a flat shipping rate. Today's episode is also sponsored by the Flexibility Blueprint. Ever felt lost in the sea of social media fitness advice? The Flexibility Blueprint is your map to progress, designed to help you get laser focused on what matters most for your journey in flexibility and strength. And guess what? It's free. Grab it using the link in the description. If you're starting your flexibility journey, don't miss our 20-minute mobility routine. It's your first step to quick wins in flexibility. For those further along, use our Flexibility Masterclass, featuring advanced techniques like loaded stretching and end range strength for the pancake, front splits, middle splits, and more. Links for both are also in the description. And for the seasoned athletes, avoid the frustration of complex training puzzles with our UMS Tribe membership. It's a different online coaching experience with strength and flexibility combined. Don't forget, we're Amazon affiliates too. You can find all the equipment used in our videos and podcasts at the most competitive prices with our affiliate links in the description. Now let's dive into today's episode.
Last episode, we left you on the notion of the concept of how important it is to have a plan. You know, I said this is where the rubber meets the road, metaphorically speaking. You've got a vision. And hopefully that vision aligns with your values. You know, what is important to you in your life and what do you believe in? What's your belief structure? Then from there, you have created some goals, and we understand the concept or the process of creating goals is not just about writing them down. It's about reverse engineering how that goal is going to be achieved. It's about gaining accountability, and whether that's through your partner, your family, your work environment, your friends, your social structure. For us in the UMS Tribe, we spoke about the concept of expert accountability. That's Rad, myself, and our coaching team. We spoke about alumni accountability. Those are the people that are just a year or two ahead of you. They've walked the path already, and they've succeeded, and they help bring you along the journey. And then you've got the people, the community accountability, the tribe accountability. Those are the people walking shoulder to shoulder with you. They're at the same level, possibly even at the same starting point with the same or similar goals. Now, in the last episode, we spoke about how, that's all really important. But what then the next step is to create daily behaviors. Some might call them systems. Some might call them actions, habits, rituals. This is literally building your calendar. We use Google Calendar, and we probably encourage people to use an app like that, because then you've got it everywhere. You've got it on your phone, you've got it on your computer, on your desktop, and it's about time blocking and scheduling time throughout the day to align with your goals. Rad's showing you his calendar there. Mine looks very much the same. We even color code our calendars so we know immediately what that color means. And this is a really, really important step, a really important step. From here, we've also addressed the ego and the possibility that the ego is going to self-sabotage you if not kept in check. And we take you through in the Peak Potential Planner a series of exercises to be able to identify ego traits. We introduced those ego traits in an earlier episode, and how to address them and deal with them when they come up. Now what we need to do is ensure that you're actually aware of the distinction between busyness and productivity, because this is going to affect every facet of your life. And, in the very first episode, I share a story of meeting a guy called T. Harv Eker at a workshop called Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. I've since studied the book. I've gifted the book to everyone in my family. Rad's got a copy. And You know, he had a saying during that weekend workshop, how you do one thing is how you do all things. And what he referred to is, if you're going to put this enormous amount of effort into wealth creation and career, then you better be willing to put the same amount or equal amount of effort into your relationships at home, because otherwise the two aren't going to work. Now, this was a very, very difficult and challenging lesson to learn for me personally. It was something that I did not navigate well. And, you know, Rad almost suffered the same fate as me. My relationship didn't make it, you know, and my fiance and the mother of my children left. She just got sick and tired of, I guess, you know, she put it, living in my shadow. But, it's basically, I was incapable of being able to bring home the effort, tenacity, grit, and determination that I gave my work and my career and my wealth creation. I was incapable of doing that at home at the time. And, you know, I learned an enormous amount from the experience of, yeah, effectively losing that relationship. And, you know, I'm not sort of suggesting that it was all my fault. Two people always play a part in a relationship like that falling apart. But there was certainly, in hindsight, things I could have done that would have, I think, probably ended ended in a much better way. And it really boils down to the fact that if you're, you know, when you start to pursue personal development, it can become very, very selfish. You know, it's something that you almost have to become obsessive over it. You know, passionate is an understatement. You have to almost obsess over goals, because otherwise you just generally fall short and don't achieve them. But there are ways of becoming productive enough that you achieve far more than you do when you're just busy chasing the goal. And then that can empower you to be able to give a lot more when in all other areas of your life. Am I making sense here, Rad?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you've definitely gone down a little bit of a tangent, but it makes sense. But to bring it back to, you know, Yani and I, when we do these podcasts, we always try to say, what can we really give people in this episode to give them something really tangible that they can take with them? And the thing that we spoke about before this episode was, this was a really big moment for Yani and I. We had one of our mentors at the time was talking to us the difference of being busy versus the difference of ticking tasks off. And they're very, very different. Because I want to give you an example. Let's say there's a project that you're working on where you need to deliver something so that the next team can implement that into what they're doing to achieve a goal. So there's a project and you're working on a part of a project. Honest to God, the only thing that I can think of right now, and I don't know why this is coming into my head, is our mother, Yani and my mother used to be a stylist for a photographic shoot, and for photographers, sorry. And a stylist's job is when the photographer says, we need a sombrero because we have somebody, we're doing a tequila shoot and we need a Mexican sombrero and it needs to look like this. And then it would be mum's job to go out and find that. And sometimes that would mean running around physically to shops. Other times it would mean going online, blah, blah, blah. But there's photographers, there's makeup artists, there's stylists, there's models, everything. They can't do the shoot without this sombrero. Now, that's a task. The task is get the sombrero. You've only ticked the task off when the sombrero is delivered to the photographer. But for mum to complete the task, there might be a whole bunch of steps. There might be that she has to call up a whole bunch of suppliers that she knows. She has to go online and look. She has to get out on the streets and go into shops. Now, being busy would be running around for 12 hours looking for the sombrero and then coming back and saying, and they say, how'd you go with your task today? Oh, it went great. I was out all day. I was looking around. I went to all these different shops. I tried on a whole bunch of different things. Great. Where's the sombrero? Well, I haven't got it yet. I was just really, really busy all day, but I'm going to get it tomorrow. Well, that doesn't help us get the photo shoot done. We need the sombrero. No. I was getting it done today and I'm going to go back out tomorrow and do it. And there's people that disassociate the I'm going to say there's people. We used to be people that wouldn't understand the difference between busy and productive and completing tasks. So until that sombrero has been delivered to the photographer, the task isn't complete. And you don't get points for how busy you were. It doesn't help the project. And we used to have that in Unity Gym. We used to, an example would be, for us, it was getting new members. Like we had a certain amount of member count that would be break even for us in the gym, where if we had, we changed our prices and things changed over the years, but one of the more recent member counts that I remember was we needed 141 members to break even, and we had 96. And until we had 141 members, we were losing money, and we were losing a lot of money. And so we would go through these periods of time because Yani was the CEO of the company, and he would end up sort of coming to us and going, what's going on? What are we doing? And Richard and Yani and me would just sit there and describe all these things that we're doing. I come in here every day and I do this and I do that and I teach these classes, and then I've got to go and do this and I've got to go and do that. And we'd go, but where are the results? Where are the new members? Where is what you're doing getting there? And so this was a time when we had to have a very, very hard look at the fact that we were being busy but not productive. And so that's when we started tying all this into where we'd have a goal to get to 141 members, and then we'd identify the action steps that would get us there. What could we do? How could we get more members to give us referrals? How could we retain more members from trials? What were the actions that we could do every day that were going to drive us towards those goals, and what tasks could we tick off? So for example, that's when we started identifying, well, okay, when we put videos out on social media, we know that we get more members, and what we identified was, in the past, we'd always go, we need more members. Let's do some videos on social media. We'd do some videos, we'd put some ads out, and we'd get more members. And then we'd get more members and we'd go, this is great. And then we'd stop doing the tasks that got us the members, and we'd stop getting new members. And of course, eventually you lose some. And so this is what it was like running Unity Gym. But so we then identified these tasks that we knew it wasn't anymore about being busy. It wasn't about, I got here at 5 a.m. and I was working like a blue-ass fly. That's an Australian slang saying.
I've never heard that before.
You haven't heard that before?
You just made that up.
No, like a blue-ass fly that's flying around all day, all over the shit.
Yeah.
And working all day, I was busy. That wasn't rewarded anymore. What was rewarded was ticking off tasks. And there was a period of time there where Yani would manage these weekly meetings for us. It went for years because Yani was the one that was working with the mentor that was making him do this. And we would identify company goals, quarterly goals, monthly goals, and then we would assign those goals to an individual. So it's your job to achieve this goal. And then we'd break that goal down into weekly tasks. So you have to have achieved this by this week and that by that week.
Weekly goals and daily tasks.
Yeah, weekly goals, and then the daily tasks were the tasks that would achieve the weekly goal. And you didn't get rewarded anymore for how busy you were. In fact, you got penalized for that. You wouldn't get a pat on the back. You would get rewarded for the task that you completed. And what we learned was that even if you completed your tasks by lunchtime, you could, to a degree, relax a little bit for the rest of the day. But then there's the opposite is also true, where if you haven't completed your task by the end of the day, you're staying back.
Still working.
And you're getting it done. And that...
So, I was just going to say, I've got a really good example of how this is applicable to the majority of people who'll be watching this. And that is filling your time by consuming more content. A lot of people are busy, like consuming content. And the easiest example of this is, searching for answers, trying to create programs, looking for a solution for a problem that you may have. Maybe you've got an injured shoulder and you're trying to find the right video that's going to show you the golden exercise, the one exercise that's going to solve your problem and fix your injury. And you fill hours a day consuming content, but you haven't been to the gym yet. The one thing that's going to fix your shoulder is to make your shoulders more strong and flexible, improve your mobility. And A lot of people I know, they spend hours searching for the right running shoe because they've decided they're going to start running to lose weight, but they do no running. They spend more time shopping for the shoes, and another one is meal prep and meal planning. We spend all sorts of time trying to find the supermarket or the health food store that's got the one ingredient that we need to make the meal that we have decided is going to be our gateway to a slimmer physique. But we don't actually diet. There's no time actually cutting out calories and or creating a diet regime or a nutrition regime that's going to control calories. We don't do the thing that's going to tick the box. Have you gone for your run today? How many calories did you burn? How many steps have you taken? Have you got to the gym and finished your program? Because that's the stuff that's going to push the needle. And that's the stuff that's going to make you feel like you've achieved something. And it's going to liberate you from this sense of busyness and allow you to be more present in other areas of your life that really count, and for us, it was very much business related, but for you guys, it's probably going to be more around, being more targeted with your time. One of the things that we have put an enormous amount of effort and dedicated almost 20 years of our life, Rad and I, into is creating the world's most efficient and effective 60-minute workout. And that is what we've done with the UMS, the Unified Movement System, where we integrate strength and flexibility into the one workout. So there's no more going to the gym to lift weight and then going to yoga to stretch and then going to the spin class to do your cardio or a run. It's all done in an hour in the workout. And we do that because there just simply isn't enough hours in the day to do everything that we want to do and be busy. You have to become effective. And part of what we teach in the Peak Performance Planner is understanding that difference, the distinction between busyness and productive first, and then understanding the state that you get in when you're most productive, which is referred to often as flow, a flow state. And the easiest way to get into a flow state, and you'll know when you're in a flow state or if you've achieved it before, because you lose the concept of time. Space and time evaporates, and you get so engrossed in this project or whatever you're doing, this workout or this run, that you don't realize that you've been doing it for 2 hours. Time just evaporates. And the best way to get into a state of flow is to make sure that whatever the task that you're doing or the behavior or the system that you're doing is going to allow you to achieve autonomy, mastery, and purpose. And it aligns with the ability to be autonomous, to not have to think about it, to not be told what to do. So you obviously have to be doing something that you're established in or you understand. Mastery, it's something that you can pursue to achieve mastery, and it aligns with your purpose. That's going to help you get into that state of flow. And then from there, being, really, really protecting the state of flow. And this was a huge level up for Rad and I. We had to get to the, at this point where we started this story, we were living our lives reactively. We weren't being proactive. And there's a quote in the Peak Performance Planner: productivity is never an accident. It's always the result of commitment to excellence, intelligent planning, and focused effort. That's a quote by Paul J. Meyer. And it is really, really true. You cannot be reactive at this stage in achieving your goals. You have to be proactive. And that requires often getting rid of the distractions that come with these bloody smartphones. I don't get any notifications. And that's a real challenge. Our wives and girlfriends often get frustrated because we don't immediately respond to a text message. But we've removed the ding that comes through when you get a text message, and we have diarized time in our day to check emails and to check text messages and to check those things. Because if you're getting dinged every few minutes, you never achieve a state of flow. Rad, do you agree?
100%. But I want to really echo something that you said back there about what you think our listeners will be able to relate to, which is the idea of watching heaps of content but not actually taking the action that's going to get you your results. If you've listened to this whole series, you'll remember the last episode where I talked about, or 2 episodes ago, where I talked about having a real look at yourself and the results that you've produced and asking you if you want more of this or less. It's a new year now, where if you're listening to this at the point that it's being released, we're right at the changeover from 2023 to 24. And for me, a new year is a real opportunity to reflect on what I achieved last year and have a real honest look at whether I achieved what I wanted or not. And so ask yourself, if you're somebody that watches a lot of content on fitness, you're watching videos on flexibility, on strength training, you're piecing things together, look at what you've achieved in the last year and ask yourself whether you achieved your goals or not. Have a really honest, question as to whether you've achieved that or not. And even go a step further than that. And maybe have a look at how much time you spent on YouTube. How much time do you spend? Ask yourself, how much time do you spend a day on YouTube looking at fitness videos? And then add that up over a week and really look at it and go, wow, I'm spending 1, 2, 3 hours a week watching content on fitness and whatever. And then ask yourself, what would you be able to do with your life if you had that time back and you could invest it into something else? Because what I've learned is that when it comes to fitness, and I'm a coach, when I was watching YouTube videos, when I was starting out calisthenics and when I was starting out flexibility training 10 years ago, I started by watching YouTube videos and I started trying to piece it all together for myself. And man, did I go for it. I was investing, I reckon, on average, 1 to 2 hours a day on YouTube watching tutorial videos. That's no joke, because I was so committed to learning something new. This was when I made that shift from Kung Fu into calisthenics and movement training and flexibility. And I did that for probably about, it would have been 1 to 2 years. And I just wasn't getting the results that I wanted. I looked back at that last 1 to 2 years and the progress that I'd made, and I just wasn't seeing consistent steps forward. And that's when I spoke to Yani and I said, man, I'm going to start working with a coach. I want to learn how to do this properly. And it was the best decision that I ever made. When I started working with a flexibility coach first, I really leveled up with my flexibility training. I learned concepts that I'd never learned before, and my flexibility went through the roof. It allowed us to reshape the UMS. And where it fell short was when I asked my flexibility coach about strength training. I said, how would I incorporate this with strength training? And his answer was, I'm the flexibility guy. I can't give you advice on strength training. So that was a big problem because I had to figure it out for myself. And so fortunately, Yani and I knew a lot about strength training, especially Yani. And so we were able to adapt his knowledge of strength training and what I'd learned about flexibility to bring it together to create the UMS. And what we've done with the UMS is, and this is a shameless plug, but I'm going to say it, because at this point, if anybody's listening to this thinking, well, what should I do? What should I do to get better results in 2024? Join the UMS, because what I paid for my coaching, and this is no joke, I paid different coaches between $100 and $150 a week. That's what a good online coach costs. And I got less for that, and I'll tell you what I mean by less for that. I got less for that money than what we give with the UMS for between $24 to $39 a month. It's less than $2 a day. If you go the cheaper option, if you pay annually, it's less than $1 a day. And what do I mean by you get less? I got less for that. I didn't have the same level of interaction that we give to our members, which is answers to questions usually within a day or two, video response answers, and custom programming. And the reason why, it's funny, the reason why is because the coaches that I'd worked with hadn't gone through the Peak Potential Planner, and they hadn't systemized what they do. And when you haven't systemized what you do as a coach, you have to give away a lot of time to every individual client, and you have to charge a lot of money for that. And because we've systemized what we do with our app, we can offer it at such a cheap price. And I'm going to stop my shameless plug there. But honest to God, I mean, it's the truth, right, Yanni? Yeah, are you going to echo this or not? This idea of like time is money. And if you think that saving $39 a month, US dollars a month, is more valuable than the hours, and it's the hours that you spend a day, a week, a month trying to learn and trying to piece it together yourself, that's a fraction of the price of getting through a year and realizing that you didn't get closer to your goals because you weren't even doing the right thing. And even myself as a coach, when I started to learn calisthenics and flexibility, I did that so many times. I got through 6 months and I would look back and I'd realize I'm no closer to my goals, and I'd think, I don't even know if I'm doing this the right way, and I'm a coach, but I didn't have experience with calisthenics. I didn't have experience with this kind of flexibility training that I was learning. You remember those phases? You remember that time when we were doing that, when we were doing all that flexibility training that I was learning off YouTube, and we were really going for it, and we didn't get what the result that you'd think you got. It was only when I started working with a coach, and then I could share, the info that I was learning from that coach. That because, you don't know what you don't know. That's the truth. You don't know what you don't know.
That the point of a coach is the coach's eye. This concept of not understanding when to regress a movement that's too challenging for you, that you're incapable of achieving the desired volume within every workout, but then also understanding when it's time to progress an exercise because you've exceeded the requirements of that movement now. And having someone that's there giving you feedback on the fly. And we're going to talk about this a lot in the next episode, so I'm not going to go too far into it. We're going to share some of the trials and triumphs that we've experienced personally over the last decade. And trust me, there's some amazing challenges. When I look back and started to think about this, when I was bringing this all together and creating notes for the series and also the Peak Potential Planner, I honestly couldn't believe what we went through over the last decade to get to where we are right now. And it'll shock you. And we're going to share it all in the next episode. So I hope you guys join us for that. And I hope you're getting something out of it. If you are, gently caress that like button. That helps to hack the algorithm. And look, share this with someone that you think might benefit from it. That's really what we're trying to do. We're trying to democratize good health and fitness coaching.
And don't just nod your head and think about sharing it. Right now, in this moment, as you hear me say it, hit the share button, copy the link, put it in a little message or email or whatever you want, and say, these two idiots don't know what they're talking about, but I enjoyed listening to it anyway, so have a listen. All right, team, we'll see you in the next episode.
We'll see you in the next episode. It's going to be a story of navigating through challenges.